Okay, so we're live right now. It's Miriam here from A Taste of Roseto Valfortore, and I'm here this morning with Hannah Carrington from Belle Vie. Hannah Carrington is a nutritionist, so we're here just to talk about nutrition, about food, about health, and about your business. I'm so excited to be able to hear about that and the details. So how did you start your business? Just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, thank you so much for having me, Miriam. Really glad to be here. And the way I got into nutrition and being a health coach was I actually, after finishing school, I was trying to figure out like what direction to take and talking with my mom, and she had been really interested in health for a few years, and I also had been like started working out consistently and figuring out like different healthy foods and how to eat healthier and learning about sugar and things like that. And so my mom recommended this school, Trinity School of Natural Health. And so I kind of decided to go with them. And it was really, really fun. I really loved learning about food because I'm not really into medical stuff. I wasn't before. And I didn't want to do like any doctor kind of thing. But then when I learned, you can do a natural approach, I was really excited about that. And so I got certified through Trinity School of Natural Health in 2019. And yeah, since then, I've just kept learning and reading lots of books and keep researching. And I've really had so much fun just learning, helping how to help other people, and especially moms. I've really liked helping different moms I've been able to talk with, and moms who have kids or want to get pregnant and stuff like that. So
Mhm.
that's all started. And then just recently with like all the COVID stuff, I was trying to figure out how could I actually start coaching? Since I live in Turkey. So
Wow. So how is
yeah,
that being like a nutritionist practitioner type of thing in Turkey? Like, would you say that there's a market? Because I know in North America, there's a huge market for people who want to eat healthy, who want to kind of improve their lifestyle. So would you say there's a similar market in like market a group of people who are interested in that type of lifestyle in Turkey?
it seems like it's people are kind of starting to think that way, but I'm actually really surprised with the few people I've spoken with that they actually don't know a lot about like natural alternatives or
Mhm.
eating healthy, like the things that they think is healthy. I'm just like it's really surprising. But I think they have a very, I guess, traditional approach to medicine, so conventional approach. So
Mhm.
I think there's a market for it. So I mean, having more people expose them to that would be really helpful. Because they just don't know most of the time. I mean, I'm sure there's different, different areas it might be different, but where I am, seems to be most people are not really interested in that or not aware of it. So
And it's also interesting too, I find with this whole like the pandemic situation where it's opened up a lot of avenues even online, right? Where you think that in the past, a lot of people were a little wary about completing, I don't know, lessons or different types of things through an online platform, right?
yeah,
But now it's like everyone's open to that because that's the way we conduct like the majority of our business right now, right?
yeah, which is a great opportunity for me because I can like coach anyone from anywhere in the world. So I'm really happy with that. Yeah.
So neat though. So I have some questions here. I kind of put together, I don't know, like four or five. Nothing too crazy to overwhelm you. Not to say you would get overwhelmed, but I don't want to give you too much. So a couple of questions here. So the first one I have, this is one that I find a lot of people are interested in and have questions in regards to the difference between organic versus non-organic food because you hear some people say that, oh, there's a lot of chemicals in our food and we need to go to organic, and then I've heard other people say, well, organic's just a label, there's nothing really behind it. And so I'm just curious, like from your perspective, from your experience, what does that like, is there an importance on organic food, or should we as people just pursue eating healthy?
Okay, yeah. Well, from my research and learning and all that, it's been hard at times to figure out, like, because organic food is usually so overpriced, and so people obviously don't always want to pay that much extra for something that might just be a label and not really have that much effect on their health.
Mhm.
Biggest thing with organic food is that non-organic food is loaded with pesticides and toxic chemicals and synthetic things that even more so than organic food. So when you opt for the organic option, I wouldn't say that you're completely avoiding all pesticides and all toxins because there sometimes does tend to be residue. depending on, who's selling it and stuff like that. But you are, I would say, definitely lowering the effects because they have so much less toxins on them usually. And it's another thing is a lot of companies just sell things that say, all natural, 100% natural. And sometimes, you think, oh, that must be organic, but usually it's not. And so you have to look for a label that guarantees this is, 100% organic ingredients.
Mhm.
But it is, I would definitely say it's healthier to opt for the organic, especially organic produce,
Mhm.
things that you eat fresh, those kinds of things. It does make a difference because, pesticides and toxins, they disrupt your hormones and everything in your body. You want to avoid GMOs and synthetic fertilizers and things like that. And there also are some pesticides that are carcinogenic, and so which causes cancer. So
Mhm.
you don't want to be, eating those. Um, but yeah, I would say it does make a difference, but it doesn't. It's also not completely, you're not completely avoiding everything bad that
Okay.
you're getting in an unorganic vegetable. But if you wanna only buy, for example, like if you're like, oh, I just want to buy some organic vegetables, then there's a list called the Dirty Dozen, and those are the ones that you definitely want to buy organic because those are the ones that have the most toxins, the most pesticides on them. So
Okay. And like, okay, I should probably, we can talk about that even later in the meeting, or maybe I can even in this video underneath put like a link for something just for people who want to know what those 12 or so
yeah.
vegetables and fruits are that are filled with pesticides and chemicals. But it is interesting though, like, okay, I'm not one to personally buy organic food most of the time, but sometimes when you try the difference and taste like in an orange
Yeah,
or different things, you can tell the difference.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. Noticed, especially living in Turkey where they have so many fresh markets, it's been so much easier to get things that, aren't just from like the regular grocery store.
Yeah, yeah.
And biggest thing you've noticed, yeah, first the taste, and then also how much quicker they, aren't good anymore. They tend to rot faster because that's when we're like, oh, they obviously didn't use pesticides on this. Because like we'll buy strawberries and like the next day they're already like you have to eat them the day of or start disintegrating and rotting. So that kind of helps. Like if you notice like your apples like fresh for like weeks, then maybe you kind of can tell that they treated it with something. So yeah,
Interesting though. No, because I had a similar experience because my sister and I we were in Italy for 2 months 2 years ago, and I noticed how quickly things went bad, and I thought, oh, maybe it's just the heat because
yeah,
if you have 40-degree weather. But then talking about like your experience, even I'm thinking, no, that makes more sense because if it's fresh, it's not going to it's not going to last for weeks on end, which is good.
good sign, yeah,
Okay, so here I have
yeah,
another question for you. In regards to carbs and proteins, because I know that there has been a talk, even in the whole the sphere of working out and fitness, that oh, proteins, you need to eat a lot of proteins to be able to build muscle. Not that I'm pro in this area because I'm new to working out, but in regards to this topic, what are your thoughts on carbs versus proteins and what we as people should be eating? Like, is there a balance? Is it unhealthy to eat more than either category?
Well, I mean, definitely a balanced diet is the most nutritious, most beneficial way to go. Because I feel like, especially when it comes to losing weight or working out and stuff, people tend to give carbs like a bad rap. Like you don't want to eat carbs, stay away from carbs, because people tend to think like bread, pasta, that's all going to make
Mhm.
you gain. But the biggest thing I would say is just balance, because if you're focusing on eating healthy carbs like whole grains and beans and like legumes, sweet potatoes, things like that, you're not going to be gaining weight. And carbs are actually the fuel for your cells. They give you energy, so you don't want to be like starving yourself of those things because then you're going to be tired. You're always tired and all that. And they also help your heart, digestive system,
Mhm.
your brain function. So I would definitely say, yeah, balance. And I mean, you do tend, I would say more carbs might want to be your smallest, portion of your, carbs, proteins, fats. You probably want them to be smaller. And it's also healthier to eat them, maybe eat a slice of whole grain bread with like salmon and avocado or something instead of just like, eating bread and butter. It's more
Yeah.
healthy all together. So yeah, I definitely say you want to balance it out. That's definitely the healthiest, because when you just, taking out one whole food group is not really beneficial because it has so many nutrients that your body needs.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, that's what I would say about that.
And do you think that sometimes the whole kind of negative view of carbs has to do with more of the processed carbs? So, like processed, I don't know, I'm just out of curiosity.
That's actually, yeah, that's a good point, because yeah, when you think of carbs, yeah, people tend to think of, like French fries and white bread. That's the things you do want to avoid, because that's going to make you gain weight.
Yes.
But eating like, whole grains like buckwheat and quinoa and brown rice and things like that, that's gonna be good for you, because those are actually nutritious, full of vitamins and minerals that your body needs. So those, you want to avoid the bad carbs and eat the good carbs.
Yeah, I thought I would just clarify that because yeah, there is quite a few. I've even had discussions with people in regards to this. Uh,
Mhm.
okay, here's another question. Sorry, I'm kind of going through this quickly, but I feel like yeah, I think we can move on. So, how to eat healthy with a busy schedule? And I know that I would say it's also personal for me too because now with the whole lockdown, I'm working from home, which is nice. You can just prepare food as you need it. But when you're out of the house, you're tempted just to go pick up fast food or to throw something together that might not necessarily be very healthy for you. So, like from your experience, like what would you say is a way to, as a busy, like a working person, to be able to still eat healthy at the same time?
Yeah, I guess the biggest thing, I feel like, is that people, tend to make these like huge goals for themselves that are really not realistic or sustainable. So I think the biggest thing is, picking, several healthy habits and just making them something that you can do like every morning, very consistent and sustainable, and making it very achievable for yourself, not something that you're going to always be feeling like you always fail at, something that you can always, every morning, for example, start your day drinking, a glass of water with lemon,
Mhm.
or something like that. It could be a habit that you could incorporate, or even just stopping, like without, I guess, focusing on buying whole, like real foods,
Mhm.
because it's always, if you shop for stuff and you're like, oh, well, I'll just get this, if I need a snack or something, and it's not healthy, then of course, one day when you're like super busy, you're running out the door or something, that's what you're going to get.
Mhm.
So,
I'm
um,
guilty of that.
like preparing ahead of time, like say you have a day off and you can just, buy lots of fresh vegetables or meats and stuff, and you can even cook those ahead of time and freeze them even in Ziploc bags or something, and prepare lunches ahead of time. Or if you're a busy mom, for meals, you can just throw into like an Instapot or something like that.
Mhm.
Um, or even changing things like, you want to drink more water, then, get a good sized water bottle and like commit to drinking, a certain amount a day. Just get rid of the coffee, like switch it out, drink water instead of coffee or something like that. And just making a point, to eat real foods. I think that's the biggest thing. People tend to get, package this, package that, crackers, bars and things that tend to have other extra things in it that aren't very good for you. So it's, I guess, simple preparation. There's so many recipes and things online, like 30 minutes. You can make something that's not, it doesn't have to be extravagant, but just simple, healthy recipes that taste really good, that are really easy. So those are, I think that's the biggest things, just being consistent and preparing ahead of time is probably a big thing, especially for people who are always working and don't really have much time, to take time
Yes.
to do something really healthy. So
And you've
yeah.
posted quite a few recipes and even on your website and on your various pages. So probably once we're finished, once we wrap up this interview, I'll be putting that in the comments in the link for this video. So if people want to check that out, check out the different recipes that you have. Because I've looked at some of them. I follow you on social media, and it's wow. They're encouraging too, because sometimes when you just get stuck in a rut of you're busy working and you just want to throw something together after work, you don't necessarily think of the most healthy options, right? So it's good to have a couple recipes. So if you want to kind of try something different, or even on the days that you have time off, which I'm thinking for
Yeah.
myself, then it's good to try those recipes, right?
Yeah, even for snacks too, because I feel like that's one area that was really hard, especially when you're just like, you need to run to this appointment, that appointment,
Mhm.
and you just want to eat something, you're starving because you didn't take time maybe to eat lunch or something. Then it's always good, you can get like, nuts or seeds and fruit, fresh fruit, like just having things prepared ahead of time so that when it comes time, when you need to eat really fast, then you have healthy options. So,
Hmm. No, I think that's great. That's a great tip, actually. And I'll take note of that as well for myself. Once things start opening up and I'm back to work again. Um,
yeah.
okay, so another question I have here was the whole topic of working out and like the importance of working out, especially for people who don't enjoy working out. Talking Speaking to myself here because 2021 has been the first year that I've actually started working out consistently, and it wasn't always easy. But like, what would be your tips for people who? Because I know there are other people who also don't like working out. What would be tips for people who don't enjoy working out to kind of keep a schedule? Like, what would be your tips in regards to that?
Yeah, I think there's, so many options on the internet too. Like just you can even getting someone to be accountable to is a really big thing.
Mhm.
Because, if you don't enjoy something, it's always good to have a friend or a coach or something that's gonna check in with you and say, "Oh, did you work out today?" Or that's always helpful. And I think starting again, like making just a simple habit, maybe if you've never really worked out before and you don't enjoy it, then picking like, okay, I'm going to work out, once or twice a week, and you have a day, a time you're going to do it, and no excuses, just like get it done. And I think doing it, starting slow and doing it that way will help build a habit that you'll be able to, maybe after a month or two, you'll be like, oh, this is just a part, this is what I do. So it
Mhm.
becomes something just a part of your routine. And then, always you can always increase that, 3 times a week or 4 times a week. And I think you'll obviously end up getting to the point where you're like, oh, like I enjoy this. Like you probably won't be able to see like, oh, I never used to like working out. Um, so I think that's a big thing. Just, a small habit that becomes just a part of what you do,
Mhm.
which is thing. You don't want to always be like putting these huge goals that you can't meet, which is hard because then you'll never do it. Um, and working out is just like so important for your health, especially, I mean, if you're sitting a lot and just you don't move a lot, if that's your job,
Yes, yes.
that's you don't get outside much. And it's just so good for your brain. Like if you tend to, have brain fog or low energy, because working out really helps, improve your circulation,
Mhm.
gets rid of toxins when you sweat through your skin. And even if you do get sick, it helps your immune system because it's not moving like lethargically and slow, but you tend to have a much quicker comeback. So that's
Okay.
a great thing. And then just your metabolism, like if you have a slow metabolism, you're obviously not going to be burning very many calories or fats throughout the day.
Mhm.
So if weight loss is one of your concerns, then if you're not moving, that's not really a good option for you. You want to start moving and up your metabolism so that your body can actually start functioning properly. Um,
Yes. So like a
yeah, and also
balance between like dieting and working out, would you say?
that's a good point. Yeah. Also, just your sleep quality. It also helps with your sleep because obviously, if you're not using your muscles and stuff, you're not going to be tired when it comes time to go to bed. So
Mhm.
that's yeah, something important. And yeah, just your overall like even disease, like it helps your cells rejuvenate and keeps you healthy. So all those things, altogether, so many health benefits of working
Wow.
out.
Honestly, you're making me appreciate working out even more because it's hard. It's like pulling teeth, but I know it's helpful, so I do work out. But no, this is great. This is really helpful. Um, and in regards to working out and like having a schedule, this is just something that I just thought of quickly. Does it matter when you work out, or would you say that it all depends on like the person in mind? Would you say?
Yeah, usually there's so many contradicting views about this. Like some people say like first thing in the morning, definitely, or before lunch. Typically, you want to do it at least a couple hours before you eat. You don't want to be working out on like a full stomach or anything. And some people can work out first thing in the morning after drinking some water or something, and they feel fine. But for some people, that's not a good option
Mhm.
because they tend to feel faint and they haven't eaten. It might not just be good for them. But definitely, I don't think there's a specific time, I would say, except like you don't want to be working out at like 11 o'clock at night or something in the evening. That's not the best. Your body's like shutting down. It's probably not the best time, to wake yourself up and all that.
Mhm.
But yeah, I personally love working out either, in the morning or a few hours before lunch. That's kind of my favorite time.
Okay.
Um, the most, I guess, energized it helps me, I guess, feel more energetic for the rest of the day. You know, those
Mhm.
late afternoon hours, and you know, you may still be working and you feel kind of more tired. So yeah.
Yes. Interesting. No, I just thought I would ask that question because, like I said, I've also heard mixed messages in regards to that, like, oh, working out at night's better or working in
Mhm.
the morning. But me, for myself personally, I found morning is nice because if you have a full day of work, or maybe you just want to get that extra boost before getting to all your daily activities, it kind of gives you that energy boost. So, and then also you're the for most people, they're the brightest in the morning. Not everyone, but for most people. So they can just get it done while they're at their prime, and then kind of working through the other activities in the day.
Yeah, I guess you just want to make sure, you know, whenever you have time, get it in there because it's really important.
Mhm.
Stressing about, you know, has to be at this time every day or something like that.
Yes. No, that's interesting. Okay, in regards to like overall fitness and overall health, like, to kind of wrap up this interview, what would you say? What would be some significant tips that you would give, just a general person who wants to eat healthy, who wants to be fit, like maybe not like a six pack or these big muscles type of fit, but just like who wants to be maybe toned and healthy? What would be some helpful tips that you would give a person, a guy or even a girl, in regards to fitness and health?
I think the biggest thing would be the small things, I think, because you want to really lay a good foundation for your health. So taking, I mean, how much water are they drinking? You know, are they drinking enough water for their weight? And also because your body, you know, water is so important to like every single part of your health. That's one of the big ones. And I would say your diet is huge. I think a lot of people don't really realize that because, you know, we also live in a day and age where it's like, you know, take this pill or take this antibiotic or this to fix that. And your food really has so much to do with your immune system, your weight, like everything, and the quality of your food. And so I think taking a good look at like, are you eating a lot of vegetables and fresh fruit and whole grains and things like that? Protein, you know, good meat, good quality meat as well, not just like the conventional ones that are full of all those bad stuff.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, good protein and just taking the time, you know, to prepare those healthy meals and taking care of yourself, working out, um, all those things. I think those three main things are huge when it comes to just being an overall healthy person. Enough sleep, good quality sleep is
Hmm.
another big where your body has time to, you know, rebuild itself. And so those are the four, yeah, I guess four main things I would say. You know,
Okay.
water, diet, working out, and sleep. Those are huge. Yeah, I think that answers your question.
Yes, yes, no, it does. I was just curious, just so we can kind of leave our listeners with a few points that they can take away from this, even though there's so much already that you said in regards to health that I know will be really helpful for the people who are watching this. But it was so great to speak with you, Hannah. I'm so happy to hear about your journey, about all of these different tips in regards to health. And I can honestly say, like, after kind of leaving this interview, I feel quite enlightened in regards to different things. And I also feel encouraged too in regards to working out specifically, because that's still something I'm struggling with. But I know that we all have things we have to work on. So that'll be one of my main points that I'm hoping to improve in.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I really enjoyed it.
Mhm. And for those of you who are watching, I will be putting in the description box below links for Hannah Carrington's website, her social media platform. If you want to look into that, feel free to do so. Have a blessed rest of your day. Bye.